He was a cold-blooded millionaire who never cared who cleaned his mansion until the day he walked in unannounced and saw his daughter crying in the arms of the maid. What he discovered next shattered everything he thought he knew. Before you judge, watch till the end. This story will make you question love, loyalty, and what really matters. Subscribe now, because you won't believe the final twist. The sun had barely risen over the New York skyline when Donovan Hale's private jet landed 3 days earlier than scheduled. He was the kind of man who didn't announce arrivals, didn't explain absences, and never asked for permission. His empire of luxury hotels, biotech investments, and global properties gave him the power to move like a ghost, rich, invisible, and feared. At 47, he was colder than the money he counted and more distant than the stars above his penthouse. His only daughter, 8-year-old Savannah, hadn't seen him in person for nearly 7 months. After her mother's tragic death in a car crash, he had buried himself in acquisitions and litigation, leaving Savannah in the care of a rotating crew of nannies, bodyguards, and maids. But something gnawed at him, something about the last phone call he received from his assistant. "Sir, there's been a change." She wouldn't explain. So, without alerting security or his household, Donovan arrived at his estate quietly, slipped past the gate using his override code, and walked through the sprawling marble halls expecting to find his daughter alone or glued to a screen. Instead, he froze. There, in the sunlit conservatory, was the maid Elena, cradling Savannah, rocking her back and forth, her voice humming a lullaby he hadn't heard in years. His late wife's lullaby. And Savannah was crying, not the dramatic tantrum of a rich child denied a toy, but a deep, broken cry that shook her tiny body. Donovan stayed hidden behind a pillar, breath caught, trying to understand the scene. He had hired Elena 6 months ago, an immigrant from Colombia, mid-20s, quiet, obedient, always on time. But now, in that moment, she looked like a mother. A protector. And then Savannah whispered, "Please don't leave me too," and Elena held her tighter. Donovan's legs felt weak. He should have stormed in, demanded an explanation, asserted control, but he couldn't. Something about Elena's eyes, wet but fierce, stopped him. He returned to his car without being seen and sat there, engine running, heart racing. Who was Elena really? And why did his daughter trust her more than she trusted him? Donovan didn't sleep that night. Instead, he stayed in a downtown suite watching surveillance tapes from his estate on a secured laptop. Elena's routine was flawless, never late, never idle, never out of line. But it wasn't until he started reviewing footage of her with Savannah that he realized he hadn't been watching his daughter for months, only monitoring staff. The cameras showed more than any report. They showed Elena braiding Savannah's hair, teaching her Spanish phrases, guiding her through math homework, holding her when nightmares came, even singing to her under the stars during power outages. None of that was in the daily logs. What shocked him most was a clip from 2 weeks earlier. Savannah had a panic attack in the garden after a thunderclap, and while 2 guards and a nanny panicked, Elena dropped everything, ran barefoot across gravel, and held Savannah to her chest. "You're safe," she whispered. "As long as I'm here, no one will hurt you. Not even the storm." Donovan's heart cracked. The next morning, he made his presence known, walking into the kitchen while everyone froze like statues. Elena stood near the counter, her apron stained with flour, eyes wide. "I want to speak to you," he said coldly. They walked to his private office, and she stood straight, hands folded, ready to be fired. But Donovan didn't yell. He just said, "Why do you care so much?" Elena's eyes welled up. She explained that she had lost her younger sister to a rare genetic disorder years ago, same age as Savannah. Since then, she couldn't walk away from a child in pain. She didn't expect gratitude. She wasn't playing hero. She just couldn't turn it off. "Your daughter doesn't need another employee," she said. "She needs a parent who listens." Those words hit him harder than any investor betrayal. Donovan began to notice things he'd ignored before. Savannah's growing fear of abandonment, her drawings filled with storm clouds, her soft stutter that only disappeared around Elena. He tried to connect. He took Savannah to the park, tried cooking breakfast, burned everything, even read her bedtime stories. But she didn't open up. Not until one evening, when Donovan, broken and desperate, sat beside her and whispered, "I miss her too." Savannah looked up. "Mommy?" He nodded. "Every day." She burst into tears, and for the first time, she hugged him. Not out of obligation, but trust. That night, Donovan sat down with Elena again. "I don't want you to be the maid anymore," he said. "I want you to be something more." Elena blinked. "Sir?" "A guardian. A guide. Whatever title makes sense. I just know my daughter needs you, and I do too." But Elena hesitated. "There's something I need to tell you. And after this, you might not want me in your house at all." Elena unfolded the story slowly, nervously. She had lied on her application, not about her experience, but about her name. Her real name was Maria Elena Escobar, daughter of a political activist falsely accused of embezzlement. Her family fled to the U.S. seeking asylum, but paperwork errors led to years of legal limbo. While waiting for their case, her father died of cancer, her mother was deported, and she was left behind at 19 to survive. She had taken multiple jobs under assumed names, desperate to stay invisible. "I never stole," she said firmly. "I never broke laws for profit. I just didn't want to disappear." Donovan didn't speak for a long time. Then he asked, "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because people like you don't give second chances." He surprised her with a chuckle. "Maybe that's true. But I've also never seen someone fight so hard just to give a child a hug." The next day, Donovan hired a legal team. Within 2 weeks, Elena's immigration case was reopened. Within 2 months, she had work authorization. Savannah began smiling more, drawing rainbows instead of storms. Donovan himself changed. He cut back on business travel, created a scholarship in his wife's name, and founded a non-profit that helped children cope with grief. But that wasn't the biggest twist. The biggest twist came on Christmas morning, exactly a year later. The media caught wind of Donovan Hale's reformation. He had donated millions, spoken at schools, and shocked Wall Street by skipping a shareholders' summit to attend his daughter's ballet recital. Cameras followed him everywhere. But none of them expected the press conference. Donovan walked on stage, Savannah on one side, and Elena, now in a cream-colored dress, on the other. "Today," he said, "I want to introduce the woman who saved my daughter's soul, and mine." The room fell silent. "This is Elena Escobar. She came into our lives as a maid, and stayed as family." Gasps. Reporters leaned in. "And I'm proud to announce, we're engaged." The internet exploded. Some praised him. Others accused Elena of gold digging. But they didn't see what he saw: a woman who gave without asking, healed without demanding thanks, and loved without condition. Savannah called her mommy before the wedding even happened. And as for Donovan, he finally found something money couldn't buy: redemption. In the end, it wasn't about mansions or millions. It was about a broken man, a broken child, and a stranger with nothing who gave them everything. And they lived not in a fairy tale, but in something stronger: truth.